Hi, grade threes. Today we're going to talk about measurement using a ruler. We measure objects to see how long they are. We also measure them to see how tall they are, how big they are, how small they are, and so that we can compare them with other things. We use measurements for all types of things. One of the most common things is building stuff. We need to know how long, tall, big, small something is when we're building something. We also use measurement when we're baking cakes or doing anything in the kitchen that involves measuring ingredients. Another common use for measurement is in things like Olympic sports. Think about like track and field and the long jump, and measuring how far the track is, and measuring how far somebody has to run or how fast somebody has to run. These are all ways that we use measurement in our lives. We can use different things to measure too. We can use rulers. We can use measuring tapes, which is really common when we're building stuff. We can also use meter sticks. Those are those big, long, huge rulers. And we can even use other objects to measure items. People use their feet lots of times and walk along an object to see how many feet long it is. In Canada, we measure things using the metric system. This includes millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers or kilometers. Millimeters are the smallest, and then those objects get bigger as they get higher up. The words in the brackets after the units of measurement, that's how we abbreviate them. Feet and inches are part of a different measurement system. The only thing we really use these for in Canada is measuring how tall we are. But even doctors sometimes take our measurements in centimeters instead. Here's what a ruler looks like. Lots of you have them at home. If you want, pause the video and go grab your ruler so you can kind of follow along. If you don't have one, no worries at all. You can follow along on the video anyways. The small lines on a ruler are millimeters. See these little ones? Those are millimeters. The longest lines with the numbers, those are centimeters. That's what most of our measurements are going to be. And those medium length lines, those are the halfway mark. So half a centimeter. It's between the 3 and the 4. It's important when we use a ruler that we start measuring from the first line or the 0 if that's what's there. Some rulers have blank spaces before the numbers. We don't ever want to start on the very edge of a ruler if there's a blank space. You want to make sure that you start on either the 0 or the big first line. If you have a ruler at home, go take a look. On this ruler that I have on the screen, we would start measuring from the 0, even though there are lines before it. We want to start on 0 centimeters and go bigger. If you were to start on the edge of this ruler, there would be extra space that you didn't account for in your measurements. Some rulers also have two sides. See how one side here says centimeters and one side says inches. It's important that we use the correct size. Look how different those numbers are. Inches are way bigger than centimeters. For all of our measurements, we want to make sure that we're using the centimeter side of the ruler. Double check before you begin. So for our work right now, we only need to know how to measure to the nearest centimeter. So all of those little teeny tiny lines in between the numbers, we don't need those right now. We just need the big lines with the numbers on them. Like that one. So let's take a look at this caterpillar. If you notice, I've lined his antenna up along with the edge of the ruler where it starts having lines. I didn't start from the edge of his face because that wouldn't be accurate. His antenna sticks out further. Then I go all the way to the very edge of him, and I can see that it lands on the 10. This caterpillar is 10 centimeters long. It's also important that we put our unit of measurement after the number, like this one, where it says centimeters. That way we know how big the object is. If you just told me that this caterpillar is 10, I'd probably say 10 what? 10 pineapples, 10 rhinoceroses, 10 meters, 10 miles. I need to know centimeters so that I understand exactly how big that caterpillar is. Make sure when you're going through your work that you include the centimeter at the end so that I know how big it was. So since we only have to be able to know how to measure to the nearest number, this caterpillar falls in between two numbers. You could tell me that this caterpillar is 8 centimeters long, and your answer would be right. If you want to get real fancy, though, he's actually 7.5 centimeters long. See how he falls halfway between the 7 and the 8? So I would put that as 7.5 centimeters, making sure I have a unit of measurement at the end. For your assignments today, if you're choosing to do the paperwork, you can use a ruler that you have around your house, or if you don't have one, you can always print off the ruler on the website that I've provided, cut it out, and use that instead. If you're choosing to do the boom cards, you won't need a ruler. I've put them on all of the slides for you already. Have fun and practice hard.